protest hearing, which will occur today. After this preliminary background presentation, WastePro will present its protest. We have allotted 30 minutes for them to do so. There is nothing that precludes this board from providing additional time if requested to WastePro. And I would direct you, if requested, that because we want to ensure a fair process and ensure that they do have their due process, I would recommend that you do allow them, within reason, additional time. The Solid Waste Authority then will present their response to the protest, and then WastePro will have 5 minutes for rebuttal at this point. Following the completion of WastePro's case, the governing board should deliberate and render a decision on the protest. So the rules of the protest hearing are as follows. The formal rules of evidence do not apply. However, fundamental due process and the essential requirements of law will be observed and will govern the proceeding. Neither direct nor cross-examination of witnesses are permitted. However, the governing board may pose questions to any participants. The burden is on the protester to prove the relief requested by clear and convincing evidence. Clear and convincing evidence, defined as it must produce a firm belief or conviction without hesitation as to the truth of the allegations asserted. Mere disagreement with the authority's exercise of discretion is insufficient to meet the clear and convincing standard. A couple legal concepts I want to talk to you about. First is materiality. As will be explained to you, authority staff determined that WastePro's bid contained a material deviation from the requirements of the bid in that it did not meet the 20% SBE goal, nor did it qualify for a waiver of the SBE requirements. A bid containing a material variance is unacceptable and must be rejected as non-responsive. Florida courts have defined a variance as material if it gives a bidder a substantial competitive advantage over other bidders and thereby restricts or stifles competition. Public entities are not permitted to omit, alter, or selectively enforce material provisions of a solicitation, as doing so undermines public confidence in the competitive procurement process. The second concept I want to talk to you about is discretion, and the discretion of staff and you here today. Florida courts have consistently held that a public body has wide discretion in soliciting, evaluating, and accepting bids, and that its discretion, when based on an honest exercise of that discretion, will not be overturned even if reasonable persons may disagree. Absent a showing of illegality, fraud, favoritism, or arbitrary and capricious conduct, deference is afforded to the procuring authority. That completes my initial presentation on the procedure here. I'm going to throw it back to Ramana. He may have one more comment before we start the actual protest.
Thank you. So at this time, the board may ask for public comments, and I believe there's one card here.
Vice Chair Flores.
There's no other cards? Okay.
Just one card?
So we just have one card, and it's Joanne Stanley.
Thank you, Chair. Solid Waste Authority. I'm here today regarding the potential waiver of the SBE's subcontracting requirement. According to the authority's Equal Business Opportunity Program policy, all bidders were required to meet the same 20% SBE goal participation. If the SBE participation waiver is granted to one bidder, this will create a significant competitive advantage. The SBE requirement represents a substantial cost that's factored in our bids. But by allowing one company to bypass the requirements, the integrity of the SBE requirements and community involvement in this bid will be degraded. In the interest of fairness and maintaining integrity in the competitive bid process, we respectfully request that the waiver be denied. However, if the Commission decides to grant the waiver, we request the following. The same waiver be granted to all qualified bidders. A 15-day period to reevaluate our financial offer. The ability to submit updated pricing that reflects the waived SBE requirement. This approach will maintain a level of playing field while allowing the authority to benefit from competitive pricing. The authority's own bid documents emphasize fairness in the procurement process, and the governing board has the authority to ensure equitable treatment of all bidders. Thanks for your consideration.
Which company do you represent, Joanne?
Public Services.
Republic. Thank you.
Okay, that was the only card. Did any member of the board have a question about things?
Okay, with that, I would ask Waste Pro to present their case, please.
Green button.
Microphone.
Again, good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Tom DeRita. I've been a resident of Palm Beach County since 1978, and I have been a lobbyist in the county for 31 years. I have represented everything from municipalities to law enforcement to companies in the private sector. I am here today representing Waste Pro and their protest for being kicked out of the bid and the rationale behind it. I've had a great relationship with Waste Pro since 2008 and have always thought of them as a stellar company and a community-minded company. We employ members of our community and the value of the community. Last October, Waste Pro did a Touch the Truck event for Solid Waste Authority and the MRF, Materials Recovery Facility. We donated annually to the Boys Club and Girls Club of Palm Beach County and sponsored their bowling event. Working with qualified small businesses is not as easy as it seems or sounds. And I'll tell you a very quick story. I brought Drive Shack to Palm Beach County. We went before the county, and it came up that we would not have 20% as would be needed. So I asked the commission at that point in time if they would allow us to find a way to get to that 20%. So they did send me and our group 60 names of people, minority businesses in Palm Beach County. We reached out to them. We reached out to them by email. We reached out, if they had an email, we reached out to them by mail, certified mail, and text messages and phone calls. Out of the 60 minority companies, 4 responded. Out of the 4, 3 of them would not provide financial statements, and the 1 was allowed to come in and bid. So it's very difficult sometimes to be able to get to the number that you've prescribed. Working with qualified small businesses, it really isn't an easy thing. Those are the hurdles that we had to go through, and Drive Shack now is their #1 produced revenue source in the United States. Temp agencies are a great way to get folks into the workplace. But the goal is not to keep them there. Waste Pro develops professionals for long-term careers in our industry. We currently have 15 helpers who have worked for us for the entirety of 7-year contract, and 6 more of them have been promoted during that period. We have 14 more helpers that have been working on this contract since 2022. All the building futures with Waste Pro and the benefits like health care, 401 benefit, life insurance. These things are not provided by temp agencies, and our minority participation is well above industry standards. Waste Pro has delivered for the last 18 years quality service to the citizens of Palm Beach County and has always shown good faith efforts in providing these services. They should not be penalized when they did everything they were asked to do in good faith. Thank you for your time.
Chair, Commissioners, good to see you all today. My name is Sam Wilcox, and I'm here to speak on behalf of WastePro. I do want to mention that I have worked with Tom, not for the entirety of his 31 years, but I've been around for 5 or 6. I've worked with many different businesses, regulatory bodies, and governments. From what I understand, the 20% SBE is something that your haulers have to continue to strive to meet throughout the entirety of the contract, and it is constantly monitored by the authority on a monthly basis. You see in front of you, over here, our binders over here to the left, hundreds of pages of documents in good faith efforts to try and meet that goal in the limited time to get the bid in. We reached out by email, phone to several hundred SBE certified companies when we were only required to reach out to 3 in each defined category. We did a small business outreach event and a social media campaign, answered hundreds of calls and emails about the opportunities, and accepted bids from 31 small businesses after extending the deadline to provide them more time to submit. Some submissions were incomplete, some were not qualified, and some were duplicative job functions to others that were chosen. The response that we got from the SWA was that we did make a good faith effort to sign up SBE certified companies. I would like to know what more could have possibly been done for us to meet that requirement on the side of WastePro. When working with SBEs, it is truly a working relationship. Some SBEs may not be available at a certain time, and some may hit the threshold where they no longer are SBEs. And over a 7-year period, that number is going to fluctuate. For this bidding process, we took a snapshot in time of where we stood on SBE participation. That number will more than likely continue to fluctuate in the long-term contract. The goal would be to work alongside the SWA and our SBE partners to always strive to reach the 20% SBE participation, as we have previously done with the SWA. Even if a waiver was granted, we would continue to strive to get 20% SBE participation. As to WastePro's good faith effort, I have the privilege of introducing Sharna Barnes, the CEO of Complete Contract Consulting, an SWA SBE that was hired by WastePro to spearhead its good faith efforts to meet the SBE goal. Sharna is a trusted expert in procurement. Before assisting private companies for the past 10 years, she worked as a procurement director. WastePro hired the best, with the added benefit of her company being an SWA SBE. Sharna also worked with WastePro during the last procurement in 2018, and her good faith efforts were commended by the authority. She will talk to you about WastePro's similar good faith efforts as documented in the hundreds of pages you have in front of you. And if you would like to take a look, they're here for your view, of course. I hope we can figure out a way to keep a stellar company who is already a trusted hauler and partner with the SWA in the bidding process to keep serving our residents of Palm Beach County. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Sam. As stated, my name is Sharna Barnes. I am the CEO of Complete Contract Consulting. We are a procurement company, so we help businesses and government agencies maneuver the procurement landscape. WastePro hired my firm to help them find SBEs, certified SBEs, that would actually meet the goal. The folder you have over there, it entails 628 pages of good faith documented efforts in trying to meet the goal. Don't worry, don't have to read it all today. I wanted to address some of the points that the authority mentioned, especially in the areas, sections B and C, that they marked WastePro down. The authority confirms that WastePro actually did submit marketing and outreach materials. They confirmed that WastePro conducted an outreach event, sent